Finally, we will be playing Halo Infinite multiplayer this weekend, and the Xbox Series X and S consoles are the fastest selling in Xbox history, destroying a lot of narratives. We have so much to talk about in this video, so let's get into it. What is going on, everybody? It's Randall419, the man with the million, back again with another video. I hope you're having a great day, and if you guys can do me a huge favor, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, and if you want to be notified every single time I drop a video, make sure you hit that little bell, that notification bell next to the subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you guys for all the continued support. I know I haven't really been making a lot of videos recently. I've been working through some personal things, but that should be changing pretty soon. And we have a couple very interesting topics to talk about. Halo Infinite we'll get towards the end of the video, but I will say right up front, I'm so damn excited to finally get my hands on with Halo Infinite and play the multiplayer this weekend. Even though it's just against bots, I can't wait to team up with my friends and just have a great time. We'll talk about that later. But yes, this video is going to be about sales of the Xbox console because it basically destroys a lot of narratives that I see posted by certain groups online about how well the Xbox consoles are doing, about how well the Xbox ecosystem is doing, how Xbox doesn't make Microsoft any money, how Game Pass isn't growing. And I like to make these videos every now and again to basically dispel these myths. So what's going on here? Well, Microsoft released their Q4 2021 earnings yesterday, and we got some interesting information regarding Xbox. We even have Satya Nadella, the CEO of Microsoft, once again reiterating to investors that they're all in on gaming. But let's break it down. So Tom Warren tweeted out that the gaming revenue was up 11% overall, which is good. That Xbox hardware revenue is up a staggering 172%. So people really wanted the Xbox Series X and S. However, Xbox content and services were down 4%. Now, in this report, Microsoft blames this decrease on the decline of third-party revenue in comparison to the previous year because basically that was the pandemic year. So a lot of games like Fortnite and Call of Duty Warzone were bringing in a ton of money because people were stuck at home. So the pandemic is sort of subsiding, and because of that, those games didn't bring in as much money, but it's offset by the growth that Xbox Game Pass is seeing and Microsoft's own sales of first-party titles. And you can see here we also did not get any new numbers for Xbox Game Pass subscribers, which I think is a little bit disappointing. I know a lot of people were hoping we'd get an update, whether it would be 23 million or 25. I think I've seen a lot of people speculate that Xbox Game Pass might be at 25 million subscribers. The last time we got official numbers from Microsoft, they reported 18 million in December. So I think maybe the reason they didn't report any this time is because they haven't hit 25 million. That's a good milestone number to tell your investors about how well your subscription service is doing. Now, one of the things I see people say all the time is just how many Xbox Series X and S consoles have been sold to customers, but Microsoft doesn't give out that information anymore. But luckily, we have analyst Z Huge who gives us an estimate of what the systems are at. So Tom Warren tweeted out that Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella said on Xbox and Gaming, quote, "We're all in on games. The Xbox Series X and S are our fastest selling consoles ever, with more consoles sold life to date than any previous generation." And it's interesting that was said because I've seen a lot of people recently say that the Xbox Series X and S consoles have basically fallen behind the Xbox One. And because they've fallen behind the Xbox One in sales, then the Series consoles are an abject failure because the Xbox One, in their eyes, was a failure compared to the 360. But that doesn't seem to be the case because Z Hughes said that he estimates that the Xbox Series X and S total sell-in was 6.5 million as of June 30th, 2021, which compared to their estimate of 5.7 million for Xbox One and 5 million for the 360 in the same time frame. So supply for the Xbox Series X and S improved in the past quarter, with hardware revenue up 20% quarter on quarter. So what's a couple things we can take away from this? Well, demand for the Xbox Series X and S is really strong, especially when you consider they're coming off the worst Xbox generation in history. A lot of people have been down on Xbox, and a lot of people are still down on Xbox. The memes are still going about how Xbox has no games, even though they just launched the very highly rated Microsoft Flight Simulator yesterday, and there's a whole bunch of games coming. Basically, Xbox has been made fun of routinely since 2013, but that doesn't really matter because it really does seem like the tide is starting to shift and that people see the plan that Microsoft has in place with their 23 studios and what they're doing with Game Pass, and the excitement is there for the Xbox brand again, which is why people are buying them as fast as they can. The other thing you got to think about is just how many more systems Microsoft could sell if they could actually produce them. The Xbox Series X is hardly ever in stock, and when it does hit store shelves, it's gone immediately. And while yes, the Xbox Series S is in stock more often, people want the Series X and it's just not available. So I wonder what that number would be if they were readily available. But the other thing I look at is the number for the Xbox One and the Xbox 360. Now, people forget that the Xbox One actually sold pretty well when it first launched in November, December, and then it fell off a cliff because it was a $500 system packed in with an accessory that nobody wanted, and it was $100 more expensive and underpowered compared to its competition, the PS4. So when January, February, and March hit, nobody wanted the Xbox One. Don Matrick had to leave the company, aka he was fired, and Phil Spencer had to take over in April of 2014, and one of the first things he did was remove Kinect from the system and drop the price to $400. So even though the Xbox One was outselling the 360 in the very beginning, we all know how the story eventually ended. Now, I love this next little bit of information because it really goes to the idea of destroying these narratives that a lot of people place around Xbox. So we can see here that based on quarterly gaming sales around 3.74 billion, its annual revenue from Xbox division reached almost 15.4 billion, which is the highest trailing 12-month sales number ever. I'll repeat again, ever for Xbox. This quarter 4 2021 was the best quarter 4 in Xbox history, and the last 4 quarters making up the entire fiscal year was the best year ever in the entire history of Xbox. They never made as much money as they are right now. Now, the reason this matters is because we got to dispel the stupid narratives that people like to bring up, but most importantly, because this is about the future of Xbox. If Xbox is doing better and better every single year, then Microsoft is going to take the money they make and invest in Xbox. We've already seen it. They bought all these studios, 5 to 23. We've seen a bunch of deals happen for Game Pass. So the more money that Xbox makes, the more money that Microsoft is going to reinvest in Xbox to give us more games, to potentially acquire more studios in the future to get more games, to put more games in Xbox Game Pass, to build more and better systems in the future. So this is only a really good thing for us. Now, Satya Nadella also took the time to speak to investors yesterday during the call, and he had this to say about Xbox. Gaming is the largest category in the entertainment industry, and we are expanding our opportunity to reach the world's 3 billion gamers wherever and whenever they play. We are all in on games. At E3 last month, we unveiled our biggest games lineup ever, announcing 27 new titles, which will all be available to Game Pass subscribers. Game Pass is growing rapidly and is transforming how people discover, connect, and play games. Subscribers play approximately 40% more games and spend 50% more than non-members. Now, keep in mind, Satya is speaking to investors. He's not speaking to gamers. He's speaking to people that invest heavily into Microsoft. And he's basically telling them, look, this is a future play for the company. Gaming is the largest category in entertainment. He's telling the investors this because he wants them to know that he's going to be spending money on Xbox. He reiterates again that they're all in on games. He's reiterating to investors that Xbox is important and basically that he sees Xbox as a future revenue driver for the company. He goes on and says, we continue to lead in the fast-growing cloud gaming market with just last month, we made Xbox Cloud Gaming available on PCs as well as Apple phones and tablets via the browser in 22 countries, with more to come. Millions have already streamed games to their desktops, tablets, and phones. And the Xbox Series S and X are our fastest selling consoles ever, with more consoles sold live to date than any previous generation. When you sort of sit back and look at it, it's kind of crazy to see the turnaround that Xbox has done from the horrible Xbox One generation. I mean, we're talking about Xbox Series X and S being the best-selling Xboxes ever, and they really haven't had an exclusive worth a damn launch with the console yet. We have Halo Infinite and Forza Horizon 5 launching at the end of the year, but they basically had nothing, and the console is selling better than any of the previous consoles. That's kind of insane. And it's been a pretty busy couple weeks here for Xbox. Microsoft Flight Simulator finally launched and it has like 92 on Metacritic. The Ascent launches tomorrow on Xbox Game Pass. The Coalition put out their Unreal Engine 5 demo, which doesn't really interest me, but it might interest you. Death's Door came out last week and is incredible. And finally, last but not least, we will be playing Halo Infinite this weekend. The tech preview is starting tomorrow and running till August 1st. Make sure you checked your email to see if you've got in. Check your spam, because that's where my email was. It was in the spam, and I've seen 343 send out emails in waves. I got mine yesterday at 7 p.m., and I've seen people get the invites today at like 10 a.m. So it seems like they're definitely sending out more emails as time progresses. Anyways, guys, that's the video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think about all this in the comments below, and as always, if you enjoyed the video, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Please hit that notification bell if you want to be notified immediately whenever I drop a new video like this. Share this out on social media or tell a friend about the channel. And if you want to take your support even further, you can always hit that join button, where you will get access to channel badges and emotes for the Xbox 2 podcast we do every single week with Jez Corden from Windows Central. Thank you guys so much for checking out the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Later, guys.